Well,
Hey,
hello, Brenda.
Charlie. How's it going?
It's going well. So happy to be here tonight. I'm Charlie Collins, co founder of Thriving Blind Academy and CCI, which stands for Charlie Collins International, and an author and a speaker. And weekly, this is episode 5. Brenda and I have been bringing a podcast out to the masses, and we're happy to be here with you tonight.
Yeah, so excited to be here. Hi, everybody. My name is Brenda Hayden, and I'm founder of Time for a 10. We teach people emotional awareness by inventorying disturbances and finding out what their conditioned thinking is and helping them challenge that thinking, reevaluate it, and find easier ways to solve their emotional upheavals because they happen all the time. I'm also a mom and a full-time IT person from day to day, and I'm glad to be here. Love doing this stuff.
Yeah, it's fun. I guess there's this one phrase that we can't keep it unless we give it away.
Mm-hmm.
And so tonight we're gonna have some fun, and we're gonna talk about happy. I mean, it's that feeling, that state, that condition of our mind and body, that congruence, that timelessness. You're just in this, like, you don't have judgment. You're just happy or grateful. That space is pretty wonderful to be in.
It sure is. It sure is. Is it fleeting for you or is it consistent?
Are you asking our attendees, or are you asking Charlie?
I'm asking Charlie.
Well, it comes and goes.
Me too.
But years ago, it only came, but it wasn't happy. It wasn't gratitude. It was pleasure. You know, oh, I feel good now. I wonder why.
There's a big difference between happiness and pleasure.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
yes, yeah. Because pleasure is something outside of me. I'm either drinking or, or going down a roller coaster. It's always something outside of me that gives me that.
Yep. I agree.
So let's before we have, I've got to just zoom over here and open up the chat in case you guys and gals and whoever's are out there and you would like to send in a question, or you want to send in an answer to us asking a question, or you just want to say hi. What if you're on YouTube, you can do chatting, Facebook, and whatever else. I don't think LinkedIn allows it, and a couple of the other platforms. So let's get down to it. Let me move this down to our first. Well, here's one of the things that we all do. I think all of us think that this is the solution to everlasting happiness.
Bring it on, Charlie. So true.
So, Brenda, you'll be happy when?
Wow. Well, today or historically?
Well, you recently got a new chair, and you did. So I just want to share this because you said you didn't complain about the chair you had. I mean, you did look 6 years old. You were little, but you didn't complain. You adapted and you did what you could, but you ordered a new chair. And you sent me a text, said, "Yay, my new chair came in." And I said, "Oh, I'll be happy when I get a new chair."
I did say that I'd be happy when I got a new chair, because I was struggling to manage the video camera and the height of my chair and getting the box right. And it was really frustrating. And I just really wanted a new chair. But you know what, Charlie, it wasn't that I'd be happy when I got a new chair. I'd be lucky.
Sorry, I hit the wrong button. Sorry.
No worries. We make mistakes all the time. I do it all the time. I'd be less frustrated. And if I'm less frustrated, I thought I'd be happier. But really, to answer your question, right? So historically, my happiness was contingent on what I would if I got what I wanted. It's if I got what I wanted, and whatever that want was, whether it was getting into the right school and I was applying to colleges, or getting the right job, or meeting the right guy, or getting what I wanted, what I thought would make me happy. How about you?
And well, yeah, mine was I'll be happy when I get out of school. It was, that I'll be happy when my parents stop being so strict and enforcing rules. I didn't like rules. I'll be happy when I'm independent and I can do whatever I want in life.
Right?
And the big one for me was, though, diagnosed at age 9, declared legally blind at 13. I'll be happy when I can get my driver's license, and and that hasn't come. And but I no longer think that way. I no longer put that amount on something that's greater than me. Like, out of the only thing I have control over is the way I respond to either my thoughts or outside environment, outside stimulus, outside circumstances, right? And if I'm giving my power away, that can determine my happiness. It could dissolve it immediately if I don't like something that's happening outside of me, and then I blame you are the reason that I am unhappy.
Right.
Period.
Yep. I used to do the same thing, and I still do to some degree today. I can let somebody get on my nerves, or someone's not behaving the way I want, or I didn't get the recognition I wanted, or something's too hard, or someone doesn't show up when they're supposed to, and I'm disappointed, and then I become unhappy about that. And it's everything on the outside that's determining my sense of happiness on the inside. And so what do we learn? So what do we learn to do? How do we handle that? How do we move past that?
Well, I would say that first things first is if they should, he should, she should, they should not, someday I'll, any of that language, the preceding, if when I think something outside of me, like some force, could be rain, could be the sun coming in the side of the car window, like, and you know what is taking me off course, really, what's knocking me away from being present. And now I'm, because when that happens, who knows what floods of other things. So today I was today, what am I saying, like a little bit ago, remember we logged in, my camera wasn't working,
Yeah. Yeah.
and my camera was working fine, but it wasn't on the screen. So it's just, you were there, you're like, hi, Charlie. I'm like, shut up. I'm irritated right now because I've transferred my power to technology and it always seems to win. So luckily there's a power button. But anyway, I caught myself, like I felt myself tensing and getting like angry, like this always happens. And it doesn't. That's a lie. It rarely happens.
Yeah.
And as I was getting tangled up with that, I stopped. I said, wait a minute, you know what to do to fix this. And when I did it, what happened? The camera started working.
Yeah. Yeah. When you did what? When you relaxed and you stayed in the moment.
And I got present again instead of talking about all the things all my life. Oh my God, I do this wrong, all that nonsense, it's not even happiness. Then happiness isn't even on the table. It's anger, it's frustration, it's blaming myself. It's like, gosh, why can't you figure it's amazing how that stuff just explodes the thoughts.
It does. And don't you think, because at least I feel this way, is when I get in those moments where I'm frustrated, or things aren't going my way, or I'm agitated, right? And that activation, my brain starts to get activated, and I start thinking about everything else that's gone wrong in the last week, right? All of that stuff comes flooding in. It's not even about happiness, but I attach my happiness to it.
Mm.
Tell myself I'm not happy. This is making me unhappy. It's not making me unhappy. I'm making me unhappy.
Yep.
I'm attaching the meaning to that, and I'm internalizing it when it has nothing to do with my happiness. It's a circumstance that's going to pass. That's all it is.
Mm. So, I'll be, I mean, I just have this preset, like everything needs to work right. And as I'm hooking things up and connecting and designing, and when I'm in a creative space, I'm pretty jacked, happy.
Yeah.
But when something throws a monkey wrench into it, and it's amazing. I just instantly off course, like, uh-oh. But at least because now I see it, Brenda, for years in my life, I couldn't see that because I was always in that state. What roller coaster can I go on? Who can take me in their car and go fast? How can I ride my BMX bike fast? What can I do to kind of get me going again? Because I couldn't, I couldn't go look within. I think I just wanted to say it. Do you notice the chat? Anything in there?
I do. People can relate.
Oh,
Happiness.
yay.
So Thomas says happiness is a choice, he believes. He's dead on. He's dead on. Thank you for that, Thomas.
Yeah. So let me go back up to the slides, and hopefully I don't go into, no. See, I was just doing it again.
What determines your happiness?
Well, I think for me it was, Brenda, at one time I had everything that I thought was going to make me happy, and certainly I was, but I wasn't really grateful. I was a seeker, a striver, a doer, and more and more. So we had the house, the kids, my wife, had the property, the sprinkler system, all the things, the boat, the toys. And I would get these thoughts like, if I could get a bigger boat, even though mine was 33 feet and beautiful, there's something missing. I don't know what it is, but I know that I kept that was my third boat. And each process of looking, buying, getting, showing, I'm so happy. It works. I'm telling you. No, I mean, everyone can relate. You order on Amazon, it's like you either coming home or the box is there. That's pretty happy time. And then it's like, okay, now it's put away and no more happy. So I think that I didn't see back in the day. I didn't know how basically, Brenda, here's the deal. If you could go, not you, people, look in the mirror, and if what you're looking at is smiling back, and you're okay with the way that looks in the mirror, and then I was in a seminar, and the instructor said to go home, to go back to your hotel room and go to the full length mirror naked. And I'm like, what? And if you can't love what you see, you're going to struggle with gratitude and happiness at times, because it starts at home internally.
It does. It does. It starts internally. I had a similar experience that you just described. There was a point in my life where I had a venture capital funded software firm. Things were great. I had an incredible home to live in. I had a timeshare in the Bahamas. I had like 3 cars. One of them was a sports car. I had money in the bank. And for all intents and purposes, on the outside, I had everything that I thought would make me happy. And you know what I started worrying about? Losing it. So here, I've gotten everything I wanted, and now what's going on is, now the fear setting. Well, what if I lose it? So is that happiness? You know what I mean? And it was an empty kind of happiness. It was completely external, and I did end up losing it all. And it was probably one of the best things that ever happened to me, because it forced me to do exactly what you said, which is to go inside and learn how to love myself. Less all of the outside things that I was defining myself by. I was defining my worth by what I could show the world I had, and what I showed the world I could do. And it had nothing to do with happiness. That all has to do with what? Ego, And it was a great lesson to like fall flat on my face and lose all of that and have to start over and build a different vision for myself and go internally and look differently. You know, make that decision. Thomas had said it's a choice. And it was really funny because I went from that to actually cleaning houses, which I actually love to do. But in terms of like what I was making, it was completely different. And I remember cleaning houses, and saying, wow, like I'm really happy in this moment. I was happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. That failure was the best thing that ever happened to me spiritually.
Yeah.
In terms of a lesson. Yeah.
It didn't happen to you. It happened for you.
It
And
sure
yeah, I mean, what determines? I think what I know what we're trying to say is basically, if it's anything outside of us, if it's the way work goes, the traffic goes, the weather goes, the people in the store, other family members, if it's projected out, if we have expectations, or we want things to be a certain way because we don't like when people are slow, or they pump their gas too slow, or the line's too long at Costco, or you know what I mean? I mean, the list, it just never goes, it never ends. And it's like, it's always out there that I'm justified. I should be unhappy right now. I mean, that guy was an idiot. I mean, duh. And then let me tell you about it when I get home, because I want to share my unhappiness, my blaming and complaining with those around me. And I remember getting help, doing the work and all this, and started to hang out with people that I'm like, this is very uncomfortable because this person is lovingly dealing with this difficult clerk. And I'm like, how is that possible? And I learned over time, how to, because I was coming from a place within back then of angst, of anger, of restlessness, of, discontent, not feeling like I belonged or something. And this gentleman I was starting to hang out with was at peace. He loved himself. He
Yeah.
cared about people. He didn't get upset over things. He had a way to deal with it. And he went in the same guy. He came out the same guy. No happier. And he just was at peace. I'm like, teach me that.
I want some of that. Yeah. Yeah.
So let me go back to our slides and see what our next one is.
Do outside circumstances affect your happiness? Well, we just spent quite a bit of time talking about all the ways outside circumstances can affect our happiness, right? So you talked about giving our power away. I could be having a perfectly wonderful day, feeling grateful, and then something can happen and I give my power to it and suddenly I'm unhappy. Again, instead of, I confuse at times happiness with a circumstance. It's just a circumstance. It doesn't have to rob me of any happiness. That's the choice that I get to make today. Whether I'm going to engage with the circumstance, allow myself to get wrapped up in the circumstance, allow it to affect my happiness, or I'm just going to look at it for exactly what it is, a circumstance. Probably something, usually circumstances come into my life to teach me something. So if I can look at it like that it's here to show me something, there's something to be learned from it, then it doesn't rob my happiness. It is a choice.
And maybe whatever that is, that environment, event, circumstance, maybe it's not there to do anything. It's just there. It's just a part of life. I don't need to go, well, let me figure this one out and everything.
Right.
For me, it's not, it's when I'm not a part of it, but I'm starting to attach to it. Like, how come that guy isn't getting angry in front of me? He should be. So I'm mad at him for not getting angry. It's like, whoa. I mean, talk about, as you said, what do you call that little sand thing you jump into?
The sand thing I jump into? Remind me.
The sandbox.
The sandbox. Yeah, I don't get in the sandbox. I say that all the time. Just don't get in the sandbox.
And especially because you're not even invited sometimes and you're still jumping in it.
And if you can just redirect yourself to the present moment, like you were saying, you're right. You don't even have to figure it out. Just redirect yourself to the present moment.
Well, I think as we, move through these principles and start recognizing, we realize I don't even need to process anything because nothing in here bothers me because it couldn't unless I give it the power. I
Right.
mean, whatever's going to happen, people are going to be the way they are. They're going to be quick. They're going to be slow. They're going to take forever at the credit card machine. They're going to, try to figure out how to put the gas thing in or look at the thing and tap buttons. And they've done it 100 times, but they still don't get it because that mind doesn't get technology and things. I know a few people like that. It just doesn't click. But I don't need to get angry at that or lose my gratitude or happiness because another human is being them.
Exactly. And you said something really important a minute ago. You said you don't even have to really process it. And you're right. Like, it's everything isn't always happening to us. It's just happening.
Yeah.
And when you take the to me out of it, it's not happening to you. It's just happening. Maybe you get a chance to look at it differently and not engage with it so much.
Well, I mean, we have two radars, right? We have the radar of, the lawns that aren't. If I go for a walk, and back in the day when I'd go for a walk, I'd notice the bad cracks or the uneven parts of the sidewalk. Who doesn't do good edging on the sidewalk? How could they possibly not water their lawn? They need to do their shrubs. What the heck kind of music is that loser listening to? I'm out there fixing nothing except making myself more discontented and not connected. Now I can walk. I don't notice that stuff. I notice my stride, you know what I mean? I'm at peace. It's like, wow, I don't tire as easily. I do more now. I was the Ferrari in first gear, red line most of the day, and blaming.
Me too.
And now I'm down. My RPMs have come way down, but I've shifted a few gears. I can get so much more done because most everything is the way it's supposed to be unless I think otherwise.
Mm. Do you ever wonder why we do that, Charlie? Why we get in that mode of like always being on high alert for what's wrong?
I just think yes, because I'm gonna go to maybe the morning pre-flight, how you set the stage, the intention, how you want to lock up your attitude for the day, or because we see the world as we are, not as it is.
Right.
Because the same world I used to be it was difficult to live in for me. Is it's the same world, but it's a completely different world
So say that again. That was really important what you just said. We see the world
as we are.
as we are,
Yeah.
not as
So,
it really is.
well, and what is it? I mean, my definition might be different than yours. It might be different than this. You know what I mean? So I see the world as, what's your personality? How do you think? How do you feel? How do you behave? And how do you feel throughout the day? Because if you think a certain way, you're going to behave a certain way, which is going to produce either gratitude, happy, or it's going to produce anger, frustration.
Right. Right. And we talked about it last couple of weeks. We've been talking about things like conditioned thinking, right? How we're kind of programmed to think in a certain way through our childhood, 0 to 7, or I think it's 0 to 7 that the subconscious brain is programmed. And part of it is just the conditioned thinking. And if you set an intention in the morning, so if you get centered, and I usually spend about 10 minutes before I leave the house, just in a silent meditation, just to ground myself. And when I do that and I set an intention in that moment, and most days it's to be present or to pause or just to be kind, not just kind to other people, but kind to myself, because, the self-talk can be really almost as traumatizing as the world can sometimes be. And when I do that in the morning, I have a much better day. Do you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because um, I used to get up and the day would live me. I mean, I kind of bounced around. I mean, I went to work, I did my thing, but I didn't pre put my intention out there. How can I be of service? Look for the areas of people I could help, customers. If I had a couple scheduled meetings, I would think, oh, I have that meeting coming up. I want to create a win-win. Of course, I want to influence but my old way, if I didn't get my way, and my way wasn't the right way, it was a not convoluted. It was a confused, if that way, if I got it, then I would be happy, which never worked, but I still kept trying.
Me too. Me too. So I just want to read a couple of comments. So TD said, blaming others leaves us powerless to change. I love that. Blaming others leaves us powerless to change. Our happiness.
I like it. That one makes sense.
So who can we change? Just
Well,
ourselves, right? Just ourselves. We cannot change anybody else.
nope.
Nope.
Nope. And some of us will die trying.
Die trying, and that's a sure way to not be happy is to try and change somebody else.
I know. I just can't believe they don't listen.
Right.
I mean, somebody once said, hey, this is the way I do it. It might not work for you, but think it through. Maybe give it a try, because it's not my way or your way. It's a better way, and you'll come to that conclusion and experience, but you need to try something different than you're doing it now. Is it possible to, when you're driving into the parking lot of a busy store like Costco, it's a madhouse there most of the time, can you just go in there with, I'm not going to focus on a parking spot and getting angry because it's so busy and that guy's got his blinker on and is he going to back out? I mean, what does he think I have all day? At least this is my conversation. I don't even drive. And then, does it, my car? Oh, of course, I always get the one with the wiggly wheel, so, but I can go, and us, when we take the power back, we can go and have a wonderful experience there and smile at people and appreciate the clerk that, wow, that's a busy, probably a hectic job, standing there ringing all that all day long. I could think about others. I can think that, and just walk around with a good intention and a smile, and walk out of there like, wow, I had a great experience at Costco today. How's that possible? Well, now I know.
Yeah. Just keeping the focus on yourself instead of everybody else and what they should or shouldn't be doing or how the cart should be. You're just keeping the focus on yourself. Okay, so what makes you feel happy?
So if anyone that's listening tonight, if you want to throw that, no answer is right or wrong, it's the way I like to look at it. Excuse me. But all I know is that when I started this, what started to, because I need to be taken out of me. So if I can't fix the problem within me with the mind that created the problem. So I would go and my thing was going to a neighbor's or going to a senior citizen's house and being of service. And the next thing I know, all of a sudden, I'm a little bit lighter as I come home. I'm feeling grateful. I'm feeling happy. And I didn't do anything for me. I didn't try to get a faster lawn tractor or a better exhaust on the car, or you know what I mean? Anything and everything. A new guitar, then I'll be happy. I didn't do anything but go and stop thinking of me and how can I best serve you. And all of a sudden, all that stuff was gone and I felt better. I'm like, wait a minute, how come that works so well?
I agree 100%, Charlie. I do a lot of service work for that reason. It is so rewarding. And there's just to experience something with another person without a motive of gain, of any kind of gain at all, or reciprocation, just to be of service. I don't know, it's the best feeling ever. It's the best feeling ever. Someone in the chat said acceptance makes them happy, as well as helping others. Acceptance is a good one.
Yeah, it
We're
is.
talking about helping others. You know, I want to talk a little more about how important it is to be of service. I remember, you know, you and I are of service a lot. You know, we work with a lot of people, and it's incredibly. I grow every time I work with somebody else, and that's kind of how being of service works.
Yeah.
I'm open to be of service to whoever God puts in my path, and what ends up happening is I learn more from that person. I feel like I always learn more than I'm actually giving. You know what I mean? So it's I don't know, it's just miraculous how it works. It really is. It's so rewarding. I'm always on fire after I work with somebody.
Well, part of it is I'm not worried about my weight. I'm not worried about what shoes, pants, shirt I have on. I'm not worried how that person sees me. I'm not worried about what I'm looking to get out of this. If he's going to, hire, have a parade the next weekend to celebrate how great I am. I don't need him to text his network to say, you wouldn't believe this guy. He came down, I am there and I want nothing in return. And because that nothingness, there's no time, there's nothing, this weird space of I'm just available. I don't have any. It's like going to the store. It's not, I don't need to figure it out. I'm present. And I think, Brenda, what you're saying is when we're in that space, we're sponges. We learn. I do too. I work with people. I'm like, huh. I love it because it's a constant and never ending improvement.
Yeah. Yeah. Can't get enough of it myself. Oh yeah. What makes us happy? So I'll be happy when people subscribe to my channel more, give me more thumbs up on my videos, or when people share my links, right? Again, all outside stuff, all outside stuff. I'm basing my worth, right, on what somebody else is giving me, whether somebody else clicks the thumbs up or likes a video or shares it or books me, 5 times in a row for a session. That's defining my worth by outside stuff. And the journey inward has just been it's taken a while. It's a process, the journey inward, to find all of that happiness and love and peace and joy within instead of externally. But once you start the practice of going inward, don't you find that it almost starts to become natural? And
Yeah.
that's where I couldn't believe when somebody said to me, I remember somebody said to me one time, you can get everything you need from within you. You can be completely fulfilled by going internal. And I was like, forget about it. Right? Because that's what I wanted, the money. Forget about it. That can't be true. It can't be true that everything that I need, that I can be 100% fulfilled by going inward. And over a period of time of meditating and taking good care of myself and pausing and going inward and asking the questions and processing and proceeding with purpose, it's happened. The fulfillment comes from within. And that's, like I said, it's a process that happened for me over time. And then as I was going through that process, and it's a process that continues for a lifetime, I slowly stopped grasping for the things outside of me for happiness. And there's such comfort in knowing that I could go inward and get what I need. It's all there. It's always been all there.
And who said that happiness is a choice? Tom?
It was Tom.
And isn't that like, I can choose to start getting aggravated with something, or I can choose just to let that go. Don't involve myself. Don't jump in the ring. Don't play in the sandbox, because that I wasn't invited in to fix it. And but I'm inserting my mind, maybe not my physical, but my mind is now in there. And
Hmm.
it's like, gosh, it's so difficult. And I don't, like you said, now in the beginning, first of all, I had to recognize that's why we started the way we've been going each week, kind of really bringing awareness to the blood is boiling and all that. So, you say, oh, wait, I'm starting to think things should be different. Let me take a look at that real quick. And over time, like you said, it's just natural. Like, for some reason, I feel like attaching to this environment, this circumstance or event, and noodle with it, and I'm starting to pay the price. So it's funny when that slide that I put in, I love how you talked about it, because that is not how I was going to. I was going to do the exact opposite. I was going to say, please subscribe, like these darn videos, and share them with people. And if you do, that's great. And if you don't, that's great. um, because I believe that we're providing value, and I was just putting it in there as a reminder, because I keep forgetting. Hey, because it helps us. It helps us reach more people, help more people, and grow our channels. But I got to ask every so often.
Yeah. And so you did.
But I love what you said, because I know that is a big issue. So 86% of people, Brenda, and this was a Gallup poll, and I probably say this all the time because it blows me away that the first thing they do in the morning is look at their iPhone. Well, not their iPhones, their electronic device. Could be an iPad, could be any of those devices, right? And what they do is that they quickly go to Facebook, and they do a little scroll, and maybe they take a picture of their cat and then throw their thing back on there, like, hey, I'm alive. And because it's the known, it's familiar to them, and they sometimes get a little, hit of dopamine, a little fake happiness through Facebook. Then they maybe look at Twitter, then they maybe go to Insta. My brother calls it like Insta book and face chat. I mean, he just jokes around because he could care less about all that. But anyway, so and maybe look, and then you're like, well, I made that post yesterday. I only got 8 likes. Uh-oh. What's wrong with me? So it's starting already in the morning. And then maybe you go, let me check my text. Oh my God, that person hasn't replied. It's been 6 minutes. And then it could be, oh, I got email. I maybe jump on a few of those, and it could be one that's an issue for at work that you need to resolve, but it came in the morning and it already kind of feels funny. It's like, oh God, I don't want to have to deal with this today. And then we're in the shower thinking about getting dressed. We're getting dressed, thinking about we're just wondering why all of a sudden I just reacted in a way like I yelled at somebody, or I was mean, or I was short, maybe more so. And then that person, and I'm like, whoa, where did that come from? Well, when you start becoming aware and noticing it the way you are, pre-flighting your day, you said it earlier, you said, I get up and I sit in a space and I kind of think through. We know there's a great little reminder that we think about the 24 hours ahead. And I need help to keep my thinking directed towards patience, tolerance, towards kindness of others. Because when that model is in place, happiness seems to be automatic.
It's no longer elusive. It's no longer elusive. And again, I keep bringing this up because it's important, is that when you do have a disturbance, and it doesn't matter how small it is, if you inventory that disturbance, and that's what we do at Time for a 10, is we give people space to inventory that disturbance and get at the exact nature of what's really going on, what's triggering you. If you do that on a regular basis, you get redirected into the present moment on a regular basis, and you start to live there. And those little field trips that you take where you're attaching meaning to stuff and it's robbing you of your happiness, they become less and less. And it's just a matter of really getting to know how you tick and what triggers you and how to redirect that, how to reframe it, how to challenge that reactive reality that we have.
Because it's an absolute, there is no guitar or car or bigger house or smaller house. There is no lawn. It all looks good and it sounds good. And yes, it does work a little bit, but we're talking about sustaining. So when you don't have the house, you're back on your big wheel. You've lost your .com. You're now driving a Pinto.
Yeah.
uh, you know, Again, back, you can choose to be happy in that space.
Right.
Is it easy? No, but all growth and glory and grace and purpose, meaning, and all that great stuff, all those words that I wasn't coming from, none of that is easy. If it was, you wouldn't see, a lot of suffering that we see on this on this planet.
True, true, true. And I want to give a shout out to Peter. Peter said, happiness is difficult to maintain. Be peaceful. Be peaceful.
There's a great book called Happiness for No Reason. I'm like, that's not fair. Those people are so lucky. They just wake up and they're la-di-da, everything's great. Get out of my way.
No, it's a decision, right? So you have to, I don't know. I don't wake up that way. You know what I mean? I don't think I ever remember myself hopping out of bed and being like, la, 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 everything's great. I wake up content. I wake up grateful, but I have to make that decision. I have to get in the present moment. I have to be grateful for what I have. It's funny. You and I were talking earlier about a friend of ours, how, when you're in really good health, you take it for granted. And then when something happens and you're not in such good health, right. And you don't have good health, you kind of think about, maybe I should have taken my good health, not taken my good health for granted. And it's like that with anything. Like if I really sit back and I take 5 minutes at the end of the day and I just do a gratitude list, just a mental gratitude list about all the good things that are in my life. Maybe nothing good happened that day. Maybe I had a really lousy day, but I sit back and sometimes I just think about the beautiful people in my life. Right. And it just brings me right back into that, I am blessed. I do have reasons to be happy. I have friendships. I have people that I love and that people that love me back, food on the table, a roof over my head. I get to go to work. I don't have to go to work. All that kind of good stuff.
Yeah. And future gratitude too is very, very, very healthy for the mind. It's seeing yourself successful, seeing yourself smiling in a situation, seeing yourself when you might need to confront something that's going to be a difficult conversation, but seeing how it's not, I need to get my way in this conversation. I am open to hearing, because what you say matters. Who you are, what you say matters. And I did not have that language it wasn't my go-to. It certainly wasn't, because I was, I didn't know any different. It's like, nobody, when I was starting to change, my mentor didn't say to me like, you're a bad person. You're miserable. You blame, complain, and justify your behavior. And I can't stand being around you. Now, those people are around, the toxic vampires. We all know. It's like, oh, great. Here we go. We're going to get a laundry list of pissing and moaning. But my mentor, he knew I was in it. I wanted to see the world differently. I wanted to be happy. I wanted to be content. And I was willing to do what I needed to do to get to that space. So my mentor gave me his time.
Thank you for sharing that, Charlie.
You're welcome.
So let's see. I think we pretty much covered our chat comments. There's quite a few in there. If I missed you, I'm sorry. It's not personal. Don't attach me to it.
I didn't mean that. Please forgive me.
That's okay. It's about
Because
that.
I don't want to end you. I wanted to go back to this slide and just say, I am still a bit stunned how you saw that. And I love that because but this is that space. Like, I'm like, Brenda, what are you doing? That's not why I did that. Now I'm mad at you. I was like, that's beautiful because isn't that the truth?
Well, so here's how I look at it, Charlie. Here's how I look at it. The people that need to see this are going to see it. The people that need to see the Time for 10 videos are going to see it. I put those videos out there to share with people what I've learned, to explain some of what emotional awareness is, to help. People who need to see it are going to see it. That's what the universe and energy is all about.
Yeah, agreed. So we have a big announcement.
Yes, we do.
And I have an apology. I opened, well, I said we're going to have a special guest with us, and that guest is invisible. No, we were unable to secure the guest. I thought it was, but it's the next week, so all good. We're here, and but we thought, because I had a couple people text and email and say, "Hey, excuse me, 6:45 p.m. on a Friday night after working all week, and I might have stopped by for a happy minute, and I have dinner, and it's like, oh my gosh, I need to rest. I don't want to sit and challenge my thinking, my behavior, and my feelings at Friday evenings. Now, of course, this is all recorded, and you could go back to it, but we do it live because we want interaction. We want people to type in. We want to get more people involved. So that's why doing it live is so fun and cool. So what we thought, Brenda and I talked, and if you don't like this, please put it in the chat if you're still here. We were going to do Saturday mornings, and either 9:30 a.m. Eastern or 10 a.m. Eastern. Now, that's nice to do on a Saturday morning. People are well rested. So the only way we know is we ask, we try it. If people watching or coming in kind of drops off, then we know course correct, right?
Correct. Yep.
So I'm going to put that out there. And Brenda, if anything came in, if nothing did, then we are going to move forward. So that means next week it'll be Saturday morning. Of course, I'll put it up on the platforms with the date and time and all that good stuff in our next topic. And moving forward, we're also going to ask for anyone that has any areas, topics, principles, things they want to bring to us that we could unpack on one of our live streams.
Would love to unpack something for someone who's watching. And I want to give a shout out to Imagination The Awakening. Thanks for being here tonight. I'm getting some good feedback in the chats about doing it on Saturday morning, Charlie, to let you know.
Well, that's wonderful. All right. Well, let's let everybody get back to their families, the bar, wherever. And we'll end this, and I will go the correct way with my down arrow, and we'll call this this episode number 5 to a close. Thank you. I feel happy.
Me too. Good night, Charlie. Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.